All right, so we're live for the first discussion of Parabellum's Conquest: Last Argument of Kings. I think we're gonna call this talk, if it becomes consistent. What was it? Surrender the first discussion of peasants.
Yes.
So I'm Rob, and joining me is Johnny. He is a Vanguard for the game. So yeah, we're just gonna go right into talking about it because it's a game we're both very excited for.
Yes, absolutely.
So, do you want to give a little introduction, a little about you? Your wargaming kind of background and how you got to play this game.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I grew up in New England, Massachusetts, and I didn't start really gaming with miniatures or any kind of gaming really, probably until my 20s. And I started with Mech Warrior, the click game, and uh, and then I went on to play other things. Confrontation was one I played for a long time. Did some historicals, and never really got to play much Games Workshop stuff. I kind of stayed away from that. Not nothing bad about them or whatever. I just that's not what I was gaming with. And then up until recently, well, about a year ago, my friend started pointing at this game, and I had seen pictures, but I was kind of iffy because it was only two factions, and I was unsure. Okay, let's see what this company can do. And then recently, I got into the game and bought a ton of it, and my friends bought a ton of it. Met Rob, we've met, played a game, and yeah, it's just the game is really rich and deep with all kinds of flavor and storyline and the mechanics. It checks a lot of boxes. This game, for me personally.
Yeah, definitely. Me too. So I got into wargaming, particularly with Warhammer 40k, Warhammer Fantasy. Fantasy was my favorite game of all time, and there's just a giant hole in my heart that might be filled because, as you said, a lot of check boxes this game ticks off for me personally. But I mean, I joke and I call myself polygamorous. I think that's the term. I
Yeah.
like to kind of dip my toe into a lot of things. So I have Kings of War. I have 100 Kingdoms. That's the army I picked. And I don't really see myself looking back on it too much. I play Kings of War and I play A Song of Ice and Fire. I do have some Age of Sigmar stuff. But yeah, like let's talk about like what is the like what are those boxes that this game seems to tick for you? Like if you were to give the elevator pitch to why you like this game.
First, I would say probably the fluff. The fluff is really deep, and it's slightly different than your basic out of the gate fantasy game. Um, Second would be the miniatures. They're really good. Um, they paint up really well. They are larger. Some people may be turned off by that, but I like it a lot because they, believe it or not, even though there's more model, it's easier to paint for me personally. I don't know about anybody else. They paint up pretty quick. Um, uh, and just the customer service with the company, the way they are with the game, the artwork is just phenomenal. There's just so much. Also, the people around the community. We have guys like, let me say, give a shout out to like the Underspire and Chris Nye and all the Vanguards that are out there on Discord. And, the community is really, strong and deep. And there's not a lot of, you know, attitude in there. And everybody's warm and welcoming and friendly and passionate about the game.
Yeah, I mean, community is everything when it comes to tabletop games, right? It's not like, a video game where you kind of just log out. It's like, no, you're putting time, you're putting effort into it. But yeah, the community has definitely been nothing but nice. Like there's no whining and complaining about stuff being overpowered, and it just seems like everybody just wants to work together to make this as awesome as possible. And, not every game can really claim that they're doing that right now. But
Exactly.
I do think that it starts at the company themselves, right? So no ultramarine players. It's wonderful.
Yes.
One person in chat says. But yeah, it's and I think the thing that actually hooked me on the game, I think I can tell you the exact point, because I remember seeing previews of this game like on and off, when they first started showing all of it, and when it was finally available, I was like, oh, that's really cool. I'm gonna go, look at, whatever they got online for it. And I feel like the folks at Parabellum, like, you can just hear in their voice that they are enthusiasts. They
Yes.
truly believe what they are selling, and they're not just selling it to you to make a profit. They're saying, we put our heart and soul into this. Look at all this cool stuff we got. Let's and that's just such a big deal to me, right? Like, I feel like gaming now is so big that it's all business models, but there are a few companies that definitely do, and I think Parabellum is number one on that. I feel like I'm getting a piece of some people who put this all together.
Absolutely. And and to that point, they're gamers. They play the game. They post videos, and on one other thing that really got me was they didn't do a Kickstarter, and nothing against Kickstarters, but when someone funds a game out of their own pocket, I feel like it's going to be more deeply rooted and have that attention that game needs. It's not just, hey, let's make $1 million and kind of turn our way and go on to another one. They're releasing all this stuff on their own. And kudos to them.
Yeah. So what army did you end up picking?
So I ended up playing this. I'm playing the Spires right now. I have the 100 Kingdoms, of course, as well, because of the 2-player. But I'm also going to probably play the Dwarfs. But the Spires grabbed me, for a couple of reasons. I first saw the archers, the marksman clones, and they looked like samurai, like undead type dudes, and I was like, oh wow. And
Yeah,
then
so quickly, for the people who don't know who the Spires are, who are the Spires?
so the Spires are like they're clones who are made, they're bio made in vats and all that kind of thing, and not the whole army is that way, but they also they have a ferromancer that can put pheromones throughout the battlefield and rise them up again, so they have that option. They can explode. They have a lot of cool things, and they're different looking also from other things that have been out there for that kind of.
So they're kind of like bug people, right? Like,
yeah, like a mixture of kind of a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, so they're basically like a group of biomancers. Like with the Spires, there's kind of the elite few, and they basically grow this army. And they have things like Ferromancers and Biomancers. We were playing with the Ferromancers, and literally it's like they communicate like ants, right? They shoot out certain smells.
Yes,
and that's what tells the army to go forward.
Yes, exactly. And another thing I liked is you don't see this a lot in fantasy. Is for them, they're from another planet, or another solar system or something. We don't really know the whole detail yet, but they came to build races and all that. So there's a whole lot of cool storyline behind them as well.
Yeah, and we probably haven't played as many games as some of the others. I know everyone's kind of just putting their stuff together, and we're still waiting for releases. So I picked the 100 Kingdoms, which is like the human faction, or I guess one of the human factions. So basically kind of think like medieval knights, and correct me if I'm wrong, chat or John. So they're remnants of kind of a shattered empire, right? Like they were all kind of unison, and the emperor died, right?
Yes, and he had one of them made a pact with I forget his name, but there's a whole storyline.
Nepenthe.
Yes, and that's a great story. So
Yeah. Yeah, so basically the 100 Kingdoms are kind of the remnants of this empire, and I think one thing that's really cool, I don't know if it's quite the same for the Spires. So in a war game, you build an army list, you pick a commander, you pick some people to work below it, and then you kind of pick your troops to fight your battles. But what's cool about this game is the fact that you pick your noble lord, for example, and you can only have certain units join him in the fight. You can pick an imperial officer, but that person doesn't get things like the like household knights and the nobles. They can't get Steel Legion. I think there's an item you can make it so they can take Steel Legion, or some
yeah,
sort
like
of
certain things unlock certain things, which is really cool.
But that's so cool because at least for the 100 Kingdoms, that changes like actually how the fluff is played, right?
Yes.
Like the fact that in my head, I'm already building a narrative just from a piece of paper saying like, okay, my noble is going to be alongside an imperial officer. So maybe my noble is actually more for rebuilding that empire versus kind of go do his own thing, right?
Exactly.
So it's really cool. I don't know. Again, I don't know if Spires or even the Dwygom or the Nords can do that, but I think that's really cool that the game encourages that much.
Yeah, and it's not like the hero. If the unit goes down or the regiment, he goes down with them. It's not hero focused so much like other games are, which is cool.
Right. It's bringing that whole feel of mortality. Like, yeah, your guy is commanding an army, but he's not gonna he's at least my guys. He's just a dude. He's like, oh,
yeah, he's not Thor,
pretty much, yeah. So that was discussing our armies. So I guess we can talk a bit about what progress we have actually done, like how, or I guess we should talk about if people are interested into this game. Like, what's the best way to get into this? So you're the vanguard. You're kind of the person who officially pitches this for a living.
Yes, I would say first go with the army that visually makes you feel good, right? Also, this is a game, and this has been talked about a lot, but a game where you can buy a 2-player starter. The value of that thing is almost $400 for $100. You and your buddy can buy it and start right out of the box playing games. And a lot of this has been talked about a lot, but we'll reiterate that if you do like those two armies, that probably is the best way. Nobody has a deal like that in the industry right now. Nobody. On top of that, the regiment boxes are very affordable as well. So
yeah, let's actually talk price point because as a former GW person, trying to commit someone to that game to actually play the game, it's
it's daunting.
it is like you're kind of explaining to them like, oh yeah, you got to buy a codex, you got to get a rule book, here's the cost of units, and then you're starting to realize how much you spent on it, and you're like, oh,
yeah, I hope my wife didn't see that bill.
Yeah. Or just then you're like, oh god, what have I done?
Yeah,
I could have bought a car at this point.
Exactly. So the price points are good. Like I said, the 2-player starter comes with about 600 points on each side for each army. The 100 Kingdoms and the Spires comes with dice, comes with the cards you need, and some objective markers. Pretty much ready to go. That and a rule book. But But again, if you like any of the and that's $100. The other armies, you can get these holiday bundles. They're running right now. They're $115. They come with a hero and a few regiments and paintbrush, dice, and paint. And they're running now 2 specials where there's 2 different ones you can choose from on that. They also do a giant bundle. It's like $235. And this is like for the guy that just says, you know what, I'm going to buy this, get in the game. It's really not that much when you look at the overall as far as, like you said, about other games. And you're good to go for a while.
Yeah. The starter's so good I bought 2 of them, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. I did too.
Well, I actually got it was almost like a founder's bundle. So it came with like a 2-player starter set. I got a box of Steel Legion, I think extra men-at-arms, an extra crossbow regiment, and I think that was it. Oh, I got an officer and a chapter mage as well.
Wow.
So that's how I started. I ended up buying another starter set, and I ended up buying 2 boxes of knights as well. So I have so much cavalry, man. Like at this point, like I just need militia just so I can like take all this cavalry I have.
Yeah, right. And,
Which I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Troll Trader, I don't even know. I think actually they're still not sold out of brutes, but it's like they were like $9 on there or something insane like that. So I'm just like, oh, why not? I'll buy 2 more.
Yeah, exactly. And also they're running a special with Beasts of War, I think, or Tabletop. I know them by Beasts of War.
Yeah, on the tabletop, right?
Yeah. They're running a special with them in conjunction with what they're doing, called the Path of Conquest. So you buy the 2-player and you get a regiment of marksman clones and a regiment of Steel Legion for free. So that's an $80 value right there. On top of the $100, you're saving a lot of money.
So I also think one reason I get excited about this game is I feel like there is so much foresight on the company. So each individual unit, I really wish I actually had something close by to show, but each individual group is like it's called a stand. It's basically like a little square tray, and there's 4 things, 4 slots. So actually I can use my base coded. They're on round bases, and there's 4 guys on each of those bases to rank them up and maneuver them easily. And then you take a certain amount of stands, and that's your unit. So one thing is that they are able to do right off the bat, if they decide they don't want it to be a rank and file game, like for example, they just came out with the skirmish rules, right? If you want to do smaller games, already right off the bat, they don't have to make any changes. Nobody has to worry about rebasing anything. You just literally pull them off the stand and you're good to go.
Exactly. First Blood. It's a free PDF download. Again, another thing the company offers that really like helps gamers enjoy and be in the game, right? It's a huge, nice rule book. It's all free. You just download it. I just printed mine the day it came out. Put it in a binder and sleeves. It's ready to go. The game looks fun. It looks, it's really, I love that they do that. They're coming out with an RPG, and I have heard stories about a dungeon crawler.
Oh, I haven't heard the dungeon crawler.
Yeah, I don't have factual info on that, but I've heard rumors of that.
You've heard a thing.
Yes. Also, they have about 17, 18 total factions lined up to come down the road. So
wait, how many?
17 or 18.
No. Are you
Yes.
like I've literally heard like 7.
No. So we all know that what comes next is the Wadrin, right? The orcs on the feathered dinosaurs. Those are coming probably, sometime in December or right after the holiday. Then we have, there's a handful of others. They have some kind of elven faction coming. They have a Spartan type army coming.
Yeah, the Spartan army is actually probably the one I'm really interested in, because it's supposed to be like steampunk Sparta, and I heard that they might have a death array.
Yeah, which is really cool. I forgot the name of them. They also have an undead faction coming as well.
Yeah, it's like
Uh,
supposed to be like an angelic theme of the undead.
yes, which I mean, really, that's awesome. You know, and by the way, if you're listening and you don't know where to get the game, if you're in New England and you want your store to actually carry the game, hit me up on Facebook and send me a message. We can make that happen.
Yeah,
Also, there's a handful of shops now in New England carrying the game. Even if you're not in New England and you're listening and you want to carry the game somewhere in the U.S., hit me up on Messenger. I'll make it happen. No
yeah.
problem.
Do you want to drop down your like email or something like that? I think Billy can
Oh,
type in the
sure.
chat.
Absolutely. It's grogansamurai@gmail.com. Again,
Grogan
any of your
Samurai.
stores want to carry it? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it's funny because I think one of the reasons, like, 2020 is a funny year, right? And you either meet people you don't think you normally meet, or you re-meet people you weren't expecting to really ever talk to again. And it's kind of funny how as soon as I started talking to you, like a lot of people in the area really started to get interest for the game.
Yes.
And one of the reasons I think I want to do this show is because I kind of wanted to jump on the opportunity. Is there's going to be, I think, a lot of gameplay going on, and part of me wants to keep up with kind of like the local the local chat and all that, but also at the same time, like I just want to put over this game. I have such a good feeling that this is gonna become so big.
Absolutely. And, myself and yourself, we've had discussion about we're not hardcore tournament gamers. I will play in a tournament. I like narrative tournaments. I like more storyline stuff happening. I'm not a meta gamer or anything like that. And I've played in other tournaments where we've had it set up and they were friendly and fun and all that. So, and I feel this game brings that. Also, we can have campaigns and all that going on, which will be fantastic.
Yeah, so your email was grogansamurai@gmail.
Yes, sir.
All right. So Billy, our friend who's secretly working in the background, is gonna put that in chat. So yeah, and also I want to give out a shout to Danny Barboza at the Armory.
Yes.
He's having an event November 7th in the off chance any listeners are in the New England area. Like, definitely go if you feel comfortable or if you can, for sure, because we're hoping to bump elbows with a lot of people and
play games.
Hopefully, outside with masks on. What a
Yep.
weird time. Like,
I know.
I
know. It's totally I mean, there's no words to describe how this year started and is still going on. It's upside down, and but another good thing is Tabletop Simulator has helped a lot of people game who are unable to game in stores anymore or for the moment, And again, thank Chris Nye for that, because he scans in all his models. He created the thing, So yeah, I mean, let's hope this demo thing is going to be a good time and we can meet, fellow conquesters and hang out and have a good time and just make the community flourish.
Yeah, so actually, going back to it, 17 or 18 different factions.
Yes.
And how often do we know if they're going to be releasing them in twos? Like the Dwagom and the Nords kind of came out close together. Do we know if they're going to be
if that's going to be a consistent
well, that's
model?
That's how Simon does it with A Song of Ice and Fire. They typically release the factions in twos, and they're typically opposition. So they did Starks and Lannisters, they did Night's Watch and Free Folk, and then they did Baratheons and Targaryens.
Okay, that's a good question, actually, because I know the Orc faction is coming out. I don't know if anything's lined up to come out with that. So I'm not sure, and I can't say for sure because I don't have an idea.
Yeah, I mean that's so much that that makes me feel like that this game at least has
Legs.
gosh, like the next like 7 years of just stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So also one thing I want to talk about is, and I think it's a really cool concept, and I'm not sure how much you've dug into it. The living world.
So I've been on it. I've voted. Voted. I usually vote Spires. By the way, I'll
Well, of
say
course,
that.
you're always going to be biased to your
Right. But yeah, it's really cool, and if you haven't signed up for it, I suggest doing so. I don't know what's coming next for that. I don't know if there's going to be gameplay that. I think so, but I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, so the living world is basically a map of how do you actually say it? I know it spells EA. Is it A? Is that how you say the word? The world name?
EA? I don't know. Yeah.
I think so. There's a map of the world, and I think there's right now 2 characters per faction who are going to have some sort of weight or some sort of tie. Oh, it's Aya. Thank you.
Yeah.
There's going to be 2 characters per faction, and they're going to have some sort of fate entwined. So, like for the kingdoms, they got King Frederick, and they have some imperial officer. And then I'm not sure who they really have for anyone else, because like you said, you kind of just focus on what's going to help your team the most.
Exactly.
But so obviously, but what I do find interesting is you can oh, excellent, thank you for linking that in the chat. You can, I actually find what's most interesting is voting for the other armies, right?
Yes.
It's like what does the dwarf do? Does he go fight the Nords, or does he like look more internal? And I was like, well, if he's internal, he weakens himself. He's a bit closer to me. So I'm like, I almost kind of want them to destroy themselves. Like, it's really cool, and I don't really know, like, do we know if it's going to be a full-time thing, the living world?
I think so. It seems so. I don't see any end. Like I haven't seen any end to it or anything like that. I don't see any expiration on it.
Yeah, like I'm wondering, how long the consequences will be. Like, what happens if it gets to a scenario a character dies?
Yeah,
right?
Good.
Is it going to be like there gets to a place where, like, if enough votes trigger, like say Frederick goes to fight some Dweghom, but then like the Nords are there and they're like, oh man, we can just kill a king. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, let's do that. And then if he dies, like, do we play as his heir next? Like, does he become the character? Does another noble take his place? That's what I'm curious about, like the long term. And I'm going to use wrestling terms every chance I get. What is the long term booking of all this? And it's literally just mind blowing. And I almost a little scared that literally the players dictate the Senate, like the lore, right?
Yeah, right.
Like,
that's true.
Like, it has.
Well, I guess if anybody knows any, like,
go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, if anybody knows, anything more about, like, if it has a deadline or anything, post it up so we know.
Yeah, I think you get 2 votes every week. I think they originally did it every day, and then everyone's like, no, please don't. And then they were like, okay, it's every week.
Yeah, and on that note, they really do listen to the community, which is phenomenal. A lot of companies don't really take in everything and kind of process it where they do. They listen to their people, which is great.
Yeah, I remember them talking about, like, there must have been some sort of oversight with one of the Dweghom spells where literally, like, one dude could just kill an entire army. But it seemed like that they just patched it up pretty quick.
That's good.
Yeah, and even, like, again, just the foresight, right? So this game is interesting because you actually make a deck of cards. So, like, for each unit you have a deck of cards, right? And you have to draw the cards from your deck. You don't shuffle them or anything. You make it. So you know exactly what you're drawing at what time. You don't know what your opponent's drawing at what time. But what's cool is on the starters, they have the stats. But on the like individual unit boxes, they have barcodes, right, that you scan with your phone. And they do that because they can just change the stats.
Yes.
Just anything, right? Like, I mean, that I hope they communicate that well, because I don't want to be like, oh yeah, my men at arms are defense 3, yeah, like let's go, and I check and they're like defense 2. I'm like, oh shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and they also scanning that code gets you the instructions to build your models.
Really, I actually didn't know that.
Yes, it has all the models are on the site too, so it has when you scan that, you can get the download to download that, or just look at the picture, and if you're having trouble assembling any of the models.
Yeah, that I actually remember. I was like so scared when I opened up the kit. Maybe this is because like Games Workshop has conditioned me too much. I'm so used to having the instructions that tell me everything and what part is on what sprue, and then just opening up and it's nothing. I'm like,
right?
Yeah, Mantic actually does that the same way too. But
they do.
Yeah. But no, I mean, it was simple enough. And honestly, you don't need instructions. Like, kind of once you're like, body go on leg, arm go on body, head go on body.
Yeah,
like,
you just got to make sure there's, like, a couple of them have armor, but they should be cloth. You just got to make sure you put them with the right torso or legs, That happened to my friend. He put he glued some wrong parts to the wrong model. I think it was the Men-at-Arms, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, Brett said his marksman clones are giving him trouble.
Yeah, they're not those particular that particular kit is definitely, it's not amateur style building for that kit. It's not over the top hard, but you definitely got to take your time. Another kit people complain about is the Abomination. They say that, it has too many parts, or it shouldn't have, it should be plug-in parts. But if you do that thing in steps, sub-assemblies, you just do a piece, let it harden, and then go and go back later and do another piece. It goes together fine. It's not that bad.
Yeah, and I have to say the Abomination is such a cool model, and I feel like I didn't prepare enough for this, because like I want to talk about all these cool models I have, but they're all the way over there.
Yeah, exactly.
I just have like my little painting desk off to the side.
Right. I mean, maybe in a future episode we can even show our stuff we are actually currently working on, which would be cool.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to think. I had a train of thought. Yeah, so you got a couple games in. So what do you actually think of the game so far, now that you have like a few games under your belt?
It's really smooth. It has a little crunch to it, which is good. I don't like games that are really super simple. You kind of lose interest quickly. It's simple enough that you can get the base game pretty quickly. The mechanics of, and then there's some other little things that are in there that have some crunch to it, which is good. I find that it seems really balanced, which is good. The two games that I've played so far came down to the end. The Abomination didn't come on and rip everybody apart. That thing. I like games that are like pendulum back and forth. You came out and started smacking me around for a bit, and then I regrouped and kind of came back in the end. And that's how it was with the other guy I played as well.
Right, and with the rules and the way this game works. So not to interrupt you, but
No, that's fine.
essentially how it works is in a normal war game, you kind of set up your forces. You take turns doing that. You kind of see what your opponent's battle line is going to be, and you kind of readjust accordingly. But in this one, you start with nothing on the field. There's literally no dudes on either side, and basically you roll dice to bring in certain units. So, there's light, medium, and heavy units. The light units have the highest chance of coming on first. So, that's like your skirmishers, your shooters, and stuff like that. Your medium guys are kind of your medium armor guys, and then your heavies are your gigantic monsters, your like super heavy knights and stuff like that. So you get sometimes these scenarios where you're getting reinforcements at the wrong time. Your dudes are being wiped out because no one's coming on. And immediately, like when I kind of started understanding that scene from Lord of the Rings where the Rohirrim, come in, they just smash all the orcs, and they're like, yeah, we did it. And then they hear the horn and the Oliphants are there, and they're like, oh god. You know what I mean? That's literally the knights coming and smashing stones. They turn around, and then there's the abomination. And again, talking about narrative, when there's kind of really two ways I see about it is there's like really kind of more of the chess where everything's kind of balanced, and then there's also more swingy stuff when the narrative but when things are more swingy, they're more narrative, right?
Yes.
You talk about successes, standing up against the odds, even though there wasn't a great chance, or or we were supposed to do this and then they failed horribly, right? Like the natural 20.
Yeah,
kind of thing. So Novus Templar in the chat asked, what is the name of the app need to and scan and read the cards? So that is actually on Parabellum's website. You have to go to their website, and I believe there's a card reader. I think that might be on the Army List Builder.
Yeah, I know that for me, I just scan it with my phone on the actual unit box, regiment boxes.
Oh, okay. See, well, I actually didn't know you can like literally get the retail boxes. Like I could get one of the boxes behind me. And
I might have it mixed up though. That might be the ones that take you to the instructions, and the one you're talking about is on the website. I think.
That's cool. I didn't know that. I thought just kind of the one barcode did everything.
Yeah.
No, that's actually kind of cool that you're just like, how do I do this? And you just scan the back of the box.
Exactly.
Or if you're thinking about getting it, you're like, how much trouble is this kit gonna be?
Right.
No, again, just the cool foresight of just kind of everything, I feel like. Now, do we know anything, the thing I'm actually most interested in, do we know anything about the role-playing game yet?
I only have heard that they're gonna do one. I'm not quite sure. And they did do 3 or 4 videos of them actually playing, I think.
Yeah, like, do we know if it's only gonna take place 100 kingdoms? Are there going to be like kind of like mixed races, like you can have a party of Dwagolm with like a party of a couple of Nords and a dude from the 100 kingdoms?
Maybe we got to have them on the show and ask them, right?
See, that's what I want to know. I have a group of awesome role players who I'm hyping this setting up to them, so it would be great to maybe give it a spin. That's something I definitely want to do. And what's great, again, because just everything is on circular bases on its own. If you're like, oh, let's you're like, my guy's from the Steel Legion, like here we go.
Let's role play, and you have all your monsters or whatever, and then you guys are gonna face a brute drone. And everybody has their single model, and a brute drone comes marching on the table.
Right, exactly. Because like even the game we played, so like kind of my last 2 turns, it didn't seem like it was gonna go well for me. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go try and kill the Pharaohmancer, because because again, the Pharaohmancer is kind of the commander. He's shooting out all the smells for the army to follow, but I was like, what happens even if I lose this fight? What happens if the Ferromancer dies and the rest of the guys live? Like, do they just kind of wander about? Do they just kind of collapse down? I thought to myself, oh, wouldn't that be like a cool narrative that like you're part of cleanup duty, right? Like you're
Right.
part of the poor like soldiers who are like, oh yeah, there was a battle here. Can you go like burn all the bodies so the guys don't the spires don't like drag all the
Yeah, they don't use them as their
back to their tower. Oh yeah, by the way, a few of them are still alive. Oh yeah, one of them's a wounded abomination.
right.
Hey John, is there a way you could turn your video off and on? I guess you've been a perpetual loading screen for a while.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. I've been trying to fix it. Let's try again. Oh, let's try this. Yeah, here we go. I'm back.
All right, cool. 3, 2, 1. You're back in the room.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
So
you can hear me fine, right?
Yeah, we're hearing you fine.
All right, cool.
Yeah, so we're just about the 50-minute mark. I think 50 minutes to an hour is roughly what I wanted to do. Is there anything you want to plug in for yourself, your group of friends? I know you were talking about doing playing some games on Twitch.
Yes, maybe we doing some tabletop sim on Twitch would be a good idea. I'm not sure how to run the Twitch thing, but we could talk about that later at some point.
Mm-hmm.
If you can make it out to the Conquest game day down at the Armory, and
November 7th, I think it starts at noon.
Yes, in Fairhaven, that would be fantastic.
Mask, be safe.
Yeah, bring a mask. Also, Danny does provide hand sanitizer. He keeps the spaces spaced apart enough for people to, game and everything be cool. We're gonna set up more of those probably all over New England. We got stores up in New Hampshire now carrying the game. We got some stores in Connecticut that are getting ready to carry the game. We have some stores in Mass.
So the name of the store is the Armory War Games and Hobbies. They're in Fairhaven, 67 Huddleston Ave. Yep, Fairhaven. That's going to be November 7th, which is a Saturday at noon. It's going to be starting. Massachusetts.
Exactly. And also the Hobby Bunker in Malden is now a carrier of Conquest. So if you're over in the Malden area or North Shore area, be sure to stop by and see Matt at the bunker. You guys can get your Conquest stuff over there.
Yeah, where else? There's Alpha Omega.
Alpha Omega in Quincy. I almost forgot, and I'm sorry about that, Jake. Yeah, Alpha Omega has a full stock of the game as well. They can get anything that is needed for the game. They have a great space there. Great people that run that shop over there. Please go see Jake if you're in the South Shore area. He's in Quincy, right in Quincy Center. He is parking in the back. Again, plenty of space, and also he's stringent on following the COVID guidelines.
Yeah, very, very important. We wouldn't be recommending these places unless we knew, the people that go there are sensible and the people that run it are also sensible too. But I also know that there's a certain level of comfort for certain people, which is fine. On Discord, if anyone's from the Last Argument of Kings Discord, I'm Balrob. And then my real name's Rob Fox on the Facebook group. So if you wanted to reach out and try and get a game outside, I'm also totally down for that while the weather's nice.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're having some good weather here in New England right now.
Yeah, oh my God, it was almost 80 here.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, we're always down for a game. I think we're gonna I'm talking with Alpha Omega, actually trying to set up a First Blood game day also in the next couple of weeks. So I'll stay posted for that. Once we get that locked down, we'll get it up and running and advertise for.
Yeah, that's awesome. So if there's anyone who's aren't familiar with the Able Troop, this is kind of a channel I have that's a project with a group of friends. It started off with us playing D&D Fridays at 8, which we do stream every week. But we got some other cool stuff too. We have Fireside Chat we do Mondays. We just recently did a review on Bly Manor, and we also recommended some of our favorite like Halloween movies and TV shows to binge watch. And Kai is doing an art stream. We're not sure what day that is or what days it's going to be, but we did one yesterday and it was very successful. And I think we're going to make this a bi-weekly show, right?
Yes.
We're going to talk. Maybe we could pull a third person into it as well.
Absolutely.
I'm thinking maybe we could get some people rotating into these fireside chats for sure. So if anyone's interested in helping out, reach out to me, or I'll reach out to some people that I also think will be a great addition. Like I wonder if Chris Nye, the person who runs the Underspire, would be interested in helping out.
Yeah, it's a possibility,
Yeah. So, anything else you want to plug in? Anything else you want to say?
That's it. Just thank you everybody for tuning in, playing the game. Again, if you need any help on getting the game in your shop, hit me up. And that's it. I'll look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and if you haven't already, please hit the follow button as well. It would be greatly appreciated. So everyone have a good night.
Thank you. Take care.